I'm thinking let's start with what kind of influences played into the role of Una?
There's obviously like quite a big sort of Graceland influence on that whole thing. I mean, I really love that style of music, and that kind of world fusion kind of thing. And I think it's something like the Upsiders we've always played with in our own little way. So maybe part of that, the reason for this song was to try and to bring that kind of feeling, you know, to the new album. Sometimes I feel like the lyrics write themselves rather than me specifically putting any words on the page. And that one, obviously there's this strong kind of, we've talked about like nostalgia vibe, and obviously the main character, the narrator there in the story, is kind of almost pining for this this kind of very you know, the love of his youth, you know, his childhood kind of sweetheart thing. But then on reflection he sort of realises that, you know, they wouldn't have really worked out together, and he's kind of looking back into the past through these kind of rose-tinted vision of what could have been.
What was the experience like when you went through the process of like showing it to people? So when it went from like an idea on the page to being in the hands of the Upsiders?
I mean, it was certainly interesting. I'd say that the most part was probably your influence, because initially the way I wrote the vocal melody and the phrasing was it's sort of odd, and I still think even now that like the verses aren't quite the same length and stuff, but you really sort of honed that in some ways quite differently to how I imagined it. So there was that, and that nice little bridge section that comes after the second chorus. We obviously put that in. That wasn't in the original idea. The fast bit, so it really gives a nice change of pace before like the final verse. So yeah, I was really pleased with how it took on this much more sort of solid shape than what it had in my head, essentially.
I used to love to sing, I used to love to watch you dance. They said you was just like those romance, to the feel from the start. I need a song and you played my heart, and it
we went in for the pre-production recording. So we recorded basically the whole album over a weekend to try and get like the feel and everything. And probably out of all the songs that we recorded, I felt like Una was the strongest performance. So we were all there, not necessarily in the same room, but recording together, and it just had this really strong vibe, just really the right feeling that we hit. And obviously, because of that, we obviously ended up keeping a lot of those original pre-production takes in the final track. So I think mainly the guitar, the bass and the drums especially are all what you hear on the final track were recorded in that pre-production weekend. So that was kind of interesting to see that somehow we just basically nailed it on that first run through.
Recording that vocal line was good fun, because I think that we nailed it on the second take.
Yeah. That was when you started doing the vocals and you just really got into it. All the songs were coming out just without too much effort, it seemed, really, which is it's really great to see.
I used to play in the yard. Back then life didn't seem so hard. When we were young and it was out there.
So how are you feeling about like coming up to the release of this song and showing it to the wider world?
It'll be interesting to hear how the actual song does, you know, in terms of the recorded version. Obviously it's got this very strong kind of world music vibe, so it is a little bit different than perhaps some of the stuff we're releasing together with this album. So yeah, I'd be really interested to see how people actually respond to it.